out there, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I hope that all of y'all had a wonderful Memorial Day. I mean, you know, a day that people got together, and a lot of people that we've been talking about on the news that they misunderstood the meaning of Memorial Day. I get it, you know, to honor those who have you know, fallen in service, you know, and we do honor those who have fallen in service, because I have nephews and I got a couple of nieces that are in the armed services, and you know, it's a lot that they have to put up with, and they do it. You know, they send out a sacrifice for themselves, because they know if war starts, they have to go out there. They have to go into an area where, you know, us normal people would be scared as hell to go into, but that's what they do. So, all right, so hope that everybody enjoyed that day. Now, you see behind me, I got the F-150. I got it up on jack stands. Now, I've done a video on this before, and I'm going to change the oil, but this time I'm going to add an oil additive to it, and this time I'm going to take you through, you know, how I changed the oil, okay? So, because the last time I really didn't, I don't know if I got the camera up under the bottom of it or not, so you can really see exactly what it is I do. But this time we're going to go through it, so I'm going to show you how I do it. And, you know, one thing about me, with all my vehicles, I am staunch. I religiously change my oil. I religiously change them every 5,000 miles. Now, that's because I'm using synthetic oil, full synthetic. They say you can go 7,500 miles with it, not me. 5,000 as far as I go. Now, with the old conventional oil we used to use, my daddy used to teach me every 3,000 miles, and every 3,000 miles I change that oil. And some people might say, oh, well, you're just wasting money. Well, you know what? It's better to be safe than sorry, because the thing about it is, the fresher your oil that's inside of your engine, the better your engine's going to run, the more it's going to protect the parts on the inside of the engine. So we're going to see what oil I'm going to be using today. Now, the little something different we're going to be doing today is, this time we're going to be adding an oil additive to it, okay? And some people may frown on that. Now, mind you, my F-150 has got 105,000 miles on it. And I keep mine, you know, at regular intervals. I write it down. I got it written down for each vehicle that I have. I write them down on a board in my shop, okay? And I'll show you the board that's in my shop. And if you look and see something different, okay, the Chrysler is not something different. Look at the floors. It took me 3 days to do the floors in here, and this is the floor tiles that I put down. So I think it looks a hell of a lot better. You know, I don't know, what do y'all think? I think it looks pretty cool. It's kind of like, you know, it's blue and kind of tannish, yellowish like. It gets some racing stripes. Okay, so if you look up here on my board, which I got right here, this is my board where I change my oil intervals at, okay? And you can see I got the 300 at 177,000 miles. I got the F-150 at 100,000. Now we're at 105. So therefore, that's 5,000 miles from changing it, okay? I even put my Cub Cadet down, my riding mode, the Cub Cadet, on when I change that oil as well. Now, on the Telluride, which is up in the front garage up there in my house, that one's got 20,000 miles on it. It gets changed again at 25,000 miles. So every 5,000 miles is what I do. Now, I'm using Pennzoil, the full synthetic 5W20 motor oil today. I'm using the Purelator one. It says you can use a synthetic blend on it, and you know, however you use it. They say it protects up to 20,000 miles, to 15,000 miles, to 10,000 miles. For 20,000 miles, full synthetics, okay? For 15,000 miles, high mileage synthetics. And for 10,000 mile conventional high mileage. Now, there's no way, if I had regular conventional oil, I would go 10,000 miles for an oil change. There's no way, okay? So, like I said, I keep mine at an even number. Full synthetics, I use nothing but full synthetics on all the vehicles, including the 300, which is a 2006. So we're gonna be putting that on there. Now, this time I'm replacing 1 quart. I take between 6.5, close to 7 quarts of oil that goes in this one right here. So I'm gonna be replacing 1 quart with the Lucas heavy duty oil stabilizer. Okay, now you ask me, why am I putting this stuff in it? Now, what I wouldn't do is I would not put this in the Telluride. And the reason why I wouldn't put it in the Telluride, because the Telluride is still under warranty, under vehicle warranty. It's only got 20,000 miles on it, okay? And it is a 2021. So I've had it for 4 years, okay? And got it back in 2020. When we picked it up was in 2020. So, like I said, it's still under warranty. Now, it says this seals worn cylinders and to slow oil consumption down, cools and quiet down. This stuff, Lucas, heavy-duty oil stabilizer, stuff works good. It's a thick oil, and what it basically does, it coats your lifters and your other engine parts in there to keep them protected, because your lifters and stuff are being worn. And oil, what I understand about oil, and my daddy used to teach me this, is that oil breaks down. It breaks down after being in there for so long. And as it starts to break down, if it breaks down, it's not doing what it's supposed to do to the engine, which is protected. It's not lubricating the engine right. This stuff here gets over. I don't know if you all can remember or not, years ago, I don't know who the name of the company is. They came out with this stuff called Slick 50, okay? And I don't know if it's still in the stores or not. Slick 50 oil trim. This stuff was like 20 bucks a quart. My dad used to love it. And the reason why he used to love it, we used to put this stuff on the vehicles. He replaced 1 quart of oil with it when he changes his oil in it. And what it would do, it would add extra. Sometimes when you start a car up, you'll hear the lifters ticking on it a little bit. You put that Slick 50 in there after an oil change, you didn't hear that anymore. You hear it, it stopped it, because that oil settles down to the bottom of that pan. And if it's thin, if it's so thin and so worn out, guess what? Nothing's going to hardly be on it. And, your oil pump pumps that oil up to the lifters. When you first crank that thing up, it starts pumping it up to it. Now, if those parts in it, those lifters and everything are dry, what are they going to do when they start? They're going to tick. So, mine's not ticking, but to prevent it, to give me some extra protection, I'll take extra protection any day before I do anything else. So let's get up under the bottom of it, and we're going to see what the first thing I have to do. Well, you know what I have to do. I have to pull out the oil plug. Now, look from up under the bottom. You can see how I got the oil plug unscrewed out, which sometimes I think can be kind of hard. So this is that little nut that goes, that's the oil plug. And you see that thing has a washer on it. I'm gonna wipe that down real good to make sure that there's no particles or anything on that thing, because anything that could start a leak, it will, okay? If you don't clean this off. And I'll also clean up around where the oil is coming out at as well. Now, you all see I got my vehicle up on the ramps. I didn't have to put it up on the ramps. But the reason why I put it up on the ramps, because of the way that the oil sits in that pan, it tilts it back. You can see where the screw, where that oil comes out at right there. You can see it's at the back. So if you tilt it towards the back, you'll get more drainage out of it. Now, what I also did too, as well, I got the cap taken off of the top, and I'll show you that. Well, I take that off so it can get some good flow, but I also have to take the oil filter off, which is going to hold some oil as well. But I let this drain all the way out first, put the screw back in that, then I drain out the oil filter. Now, some people may do it a different way, that's fine, but that's the way that I do it. First the oil plug, then I do the filter. Now, I hope you all can see where the oil filter is, which is back up in here. I was trying to find my this oil, the oil wrench that goes on, that you put a socket on. It's like a metal cup. I couldn't find it, so I'm going to use these right here because you guys can see it. And it shouldn't be too hard because I always change my oil. But one thing I don't do, I don't put these things on bone tight. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to snug them. Get that tight. There we go. To show you that's not too tight on that too tight. Let's readjust these a little bit here so we can get some better leverage out of it. But it's just that my room that I get back here is really thin. There we go. Like I said, it's not on too tight. I never put these things on too tight because you're not supposed to. You have to snug them. And you can see I got it going directly over it where it's coming down on a little slope and going right into the drain pan. Okay. And you guys can see that or not. That's that. And my oil doesn't look too bad at all. It doesn't look too bad because, like I said, I change it frequently. Now here's the old filter. This is an old micro grab filter that was on there. This last one I put on there. Okay, with that one. And this is a new one. This is the Purelator 1. Okay, but as you can notice that the old one is a little bit longer than the other. That doesn't matter. What matters is that this and this are the exact same size. Okay, that's what matters in it. Now, but before I put this oil, this filter on here, I'm gonna grease around this thing right here with some fresh oil. Now, I heard some people say that what they do is they fill this thing up halfway and then put it on there. Okay, I've never done that. One of the reasons why I never filled it up halfway, because of the way that this thing goes in, it goes in sideways like this. So if you fill this thing up halfway and you go sideways like this, what's gonna happen? It's gonna pour oil right out of it. So how can you do that? The only way you can fill this up halfway is if it goes up in the engine like that. But if it's like that, I've seen some sit on top of the engine like that. So how can you fill this thing halfway up? I don't know. I've never done it. I've been changing oil since I was 13 years old. I'm not kidding you. Back in the 70s, back in 73, I've been changing oil. My daddy taught me that when I was that age. Actually taught me before I was 13 years old. We were changing oil on cars, and we never did that. We always greased around this rubber gasket right here. And you want it because you want to keep that soft. But before I put that in there, all of around here, around the top of it, that where we were working at, which is up there on that piece right there, I'm going to clean all that off first before I put it on there. All right, as I was saying, I'm going to take my rag and I'm going to clean up around where this filter sits on this housing part here, and because that thing sits flat and you want it to be nice and clean going around there. You don't want any dust, any dirt, or anything to be on it. And you asked me the question, why do I lube this? It's a rubber. It's a rubber washer. What happens to rubber once rubber dries out and it gets hard? It'll crack. If it cracks, it starts to leak. Now, I'm gonna get up under here, and I hope you guys can see my hand. I get this lined up on it as straight as possible, and I make sure it turns. I turn it forward, and then I go backwards with it, just to make sure that I'm not cross-threading, okay? You cross-thread this thing, you're gonna have some problems. I've never cross-threaded them before, but that's what I'm just telling you. So I tighten this on up like that, and what I do need to do is I need to put my glove on because I need to get a good grip to tighten it, because it's gonna be hand tightened, all right? So I got my glove on, and I start to tighten it, hand tighten. This is how my dad taught me. He said you turn it somewhat tight, then loosen it some, go backwards, and then this time, give it a good tight turn, like that, hand tight, all the way, as tight as your hand can get it, like that. And you won't have any problems out of it. So now you all can see, I got the vehicle down off of the ramps, and the reason why I got it off the ramps because I want to correct oil reading before I put the oil in there. But that's one other little thing that I have to do to take off that I never showed you before. That's the oil catch can. Now you may ask yourself, what the hell is an oil catch can, okay? It's something that doesn't come on a vehicle, okay? You have to put it on there yourself, you know? It's an aftermarket product that's proven to be something that's really good, especially for these 3.5 liter EcoBoost engines. It catches the blow-by, you know, that goes into your intake, where it shoots that old oil that comes out. It shoots the old stuff right back into the intake. So what this does, it keeps the old oil from going back into the intake. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour it in this bottle right here to show you what this old oil looks like, okay? All right, now that's how much of it took in there. And this stuff is pretty, it's kind of nasty looking. And sometimes it can actually have a milkish like look to it. I've seen it have like a lighter, you know, dark color, milkish, like dark chocolate, milkish like to it. But this is the stuff that won't have the chance to go back through my intake. That's the reason why I never did a video on. The reason why, because I put this on it when I first got the got the vehicle, and I wasn't doing videos at the time. I've only been doing videos now for about a year and a half. So that's what that looks like, and I'm gonna put that back in place and put the new oil in. Oil catch can, I mean, you know, try it. I mean, you know, the thing about it is they're not difficult to put together. They are not difficult to hook up, not at all. I mean, you know, just, you know, they even give you the instructions on how to do it, and they're not that expensive. I mean, you can go get an expensive one, you know, for off of Amazon. You can find them on eBay. You can find some of these things for as much as between 35 and 40 bucks for them. They're not that expensive at all. So one of the viewers gave me some slack about the oil that I was putting into my other car. I don't know if it might have been this one. And I put 5W30 in it. And they said, you know, you just put 5W30 in where it said 5W20, you know, on the cap weight. And he said something about it's gonna blow that engine up. Well, there are some people who, you know, basically say stuff and don't know what it is that they're talking about. Okay, this vehicle says it takes 5W20 weight. That's the weight. Okay, the weight is the number on it, 20 weight. If you did 5W30, 5W30 is a little bit thicker than 5W20. 5W40 is even thicker. My dad in his vehicles used to run 10W30 regular conventional oil. He used to run that in the summertime. In the winter he ran 10W40 because it got a lot colder and he needed a thicker oil that's in it. So that's how he used to do things, and he didn't have a problem with it. But the thing about it is, I mean, you want to put the recommended, what it asks for it, but even if I put 5W30 in here, it's not going to hurt it. It's not going to hurt it at all. I mean, I'm just going up an extra weight on the vehicle. So there's some people may say something different to you, but no, it's not. Now, due to the fact that this vehicle takes 6.5 quarts of oil in it, I started putting half of the 5 quarts of the Pennzoil in here. And I stopped halfway because what I want to do is I want to fill this up with this 1 quart of this Lucas, the heavy duty the stabilizer. And the reason why, because I wanted to mix in, you know, really good with the other stuff. So while the Lucas stabilizer oil is slowly going through the funnel, which I should have put it directly into the engine, I said I was going to have myself a coffee, but instead I'm going to have myself one of my Glucerma Hunger Smarts. It's only got 15 grams of protein, not program. It's carb steady, and this is the classic chocolate. I have this in the morning after I, you know, somebody who has a case of light diabetes type 2. I'm, you know, basically almost not even with diabetes anymore. Last time my doctor checked my A1C levels, I was at a 5.4, and he told me that was at somebody who doesn't even have it anymore, because I kind of straightened up things in the way I was eating. So, and I feel a whole lot better. But hey, when you're hungry and you need something real quick, grab yourself a Hunger Smart. And remember, this is a non-paid advertisement for Glucerma. So with the 5 quarts of Pennzoil that I put in, the 5W20 weight, and the 1 quart of the Lucas oil stabilizer, that makes 6 quarts of oil, which is in it. So I'm a half a quart on it. But before I do that, I've already got the oil that filled up. I got the top on it, and I'm gonna start it up first, run it, and I'm gonna check the oil and see what the levels are. I take it y'all heard it started. You know, the thing I love about it is when you put fresh oil in the car, it sounds like there's fresh oil in the car. I mean, if you listen to your vehicle, you know, it sounds like it. It sounds a whole lot quieter. It sounds a whole lot smoother. And it really does. You can tell the difference, you know, in your engine, you know, when you've got fresh oil in it. And that's with any vehicle. You can tell the difference. I mean, my vehicle always does ride smooth, but when it comes time for an oil change and it gets up around that 5,000 mile mark, I mean, I feel a little something different. I'm like, okay, you know, it needs some treatment to it, and that's what I do to it. So after letting it run for about a minute or so, then I shut it off, and now I'm gonna check my oil levels. You know, you want to get that oil moving around in there. And now once the engine stops, you know, it starts to settle down. So shut the engine off about a couple of minutes ago, and you'll see where our level is at. Now the thing about it is, a lot of times it's kind of hard to tell where your levels actually are when you put fresh oil in there, because that fresh oil is real light color, but this time it's a little bit darker, and the reason why, because of that stabilizer stuff that I put in it. And it's right around that area right there, but that second hole right there is where the oil is full. You don't want to go past that, but it's going to settle down a little bit more, so I'll check it again probably in about a half an hour or so. Give it a time to you know, time to go all the way down, because that thing is still, you know, holding oil up around it. So we'll put this back in place, and you know, we'll check it again in probably about another half an hour or so to see exactly where the levels are, and add to it as needed. All right, so I got the oil changed on it. It's not gonna be needing another change on the F-150 until I reach 110,000 miles on it. Will I still have it at that time? I don't know. I don't know, you know, because I went out looking at a couple of vehicles, and I want you to take a look at this one right here. This is a 2023. And it's an STX F-150, and you see they got a 3-inch ready lift system already on it. This thing has got it's got 35-inch tires already on it. It's got some nice fuel wheels, and they're asking about somewhere about 57,000 for it. You know, I love to have it. I love that color. I love this blue color, this bluish grayish color that's on this vehicle. I mean, this thing's nice. I went and took a look at it yesterday, and, you know, and I didn't want to take it out for a drive, because if I took it out for a drive, I know what would happen. I would end up making a deal and then would have been regretting it later, because I got to remember something, you know, that in that deal comes sales tax. Okay. Sales tax on $50-something thousand is a lot of money. Okay. That means that's another car note, which, you know, I still owe something on there, but what I owe on this is less than what I can get for it. I can get a little bit more for it, where I could come out, you know, with a couple of $1,000s afterwards. I don't know, maybe a little bit more. But I gotta ask myself this question, you know. I'm at the age now where I cannot confuse my wants with my needs. I got a nice truck. I do. I got a real nice truck. It hasn't given me any problems. Some people say knock on wood. I say thank God that it hasn't given me any problems. Will problems arrive with it? Yeah, they will come with it, okay? But am I in need of something right now? I mean, you know, something happens to this vehicle and it's talking about I'm gonna have to sink between $5,000 and $10,000 in to get it fixed. No, I'm not gonna put that kind of money in it, because, you know, this is a 2015, it's getting older. So why, you know, keep putting that kind of money into something where, you know, it's really, you're not going to get a return on your investment. You know, the best way to keep your investment up in the vehicle is by keeping it maintenance, keeping the oils changed, keeping the tune up, spark plugs, you know, changing the transmission fluid, changing the rear gear oil, stuff like that. I've done all that on this vehicle. I've done all that stuff on it. From spark plugs to the gear oil to transmission fluid to everything. I keep my oil changed. I keep it up. Great tires on the vehicle, front end, new front end parts, whatnot. I keep that stuff up on it. But I ask myself the question, do I really need it or I just want it? And if I'm honest with myself, I really want it. Do I need it? People look at this one and say, so why you want to get rid of this truck? This truck is so nice looking, man. It's so cool, you know? But, you know, you can have something that's nice looking and cool for a long time. And to be honest with you, you'll get tired of looking at it, because it's the same thing that you're looking at over and over again. It's kind of like an old girlfriend. Strike that from the, you know, I didn't mean that. Okay, let's strike that out. So, but what I'm saying is, to make a long story short, you know, do I need it? No, I don't. you know, but I am going to get something new. Am I going to get it just at this moment right now? I don't think so, because I got other fish that I got to fry. So in this game of life, guys, we got to be smart about what we do. We got to be smart about our choices that we make. We got to be smart about the investments that we're going to do. You know, where are you going to put the money where? You just can't get something just because you want it, unless you won a lottery and you got millions of dollars. You got nothing else to do with your money, then hey, more power to you. Buy yourself 3 or 4 of these things if you want, you know. But me, you know, I have to think smart and I have to act smart. You know, I'm at that age of my life where I think about stuff more. Where I just used to run on impulse. I can't afford to run on impulse anymore, because, you know, you can get so far over your head and you get so far underwater and over your head in debt where, you know, you can mess things up. And this is the part of my life where I'm supposed to be living nice and easy, which I am, because I'm retired. You know, I do this business here on the side. So, you know, like I said, I'm going to look, but I don't think I'm going to make a decision right now at this moment to try to get a new vehicle. You know, they also saw, I also saw a Raptor, which I'll show you the picture below. If you can see that Raptor right there. This one was somewhere like around 83,000. Now, if taxes on 56, 57,000 is high, imagine what taxes are on 81,000, especially in the state of Missouri. And you got to pay the taxes in order to get your license plates and everything. You got to pay them. So, anywho, hey, I hope you like this vehicle. I hope this could help somebody. All right. It was basically about the oil change, the catch can system, you know, using that, and also the oil stabilizer that I put in there. Okay. Can't do anything but help you. That's all it can do, is help your engine. That oil catch can, you know, putting an oil stabilizer in there. All this stuff does, it just basically, it prolongs the life of your vehicle. It helps it out. It helps it out. So, and that's what we want to do. I don't take my vehicle to get my oil changed for 2 reasons. First reason is because I can do it myself. The second reason is because I don't trust them who's doing it. They could put some old crappy oil in there, and sometimes I've seen them not even drain the oil. They'll say some of them have, well, I'll put it to you this way. My daughter has a 2021 Volkswagen Tiguan, which she just bought, and she haven't had it a year yet. She's got like 30-something thousand miles on it. And last week, she called me from her house and said that something happened to her car yesterday. The engine light, check engine light came on, and it was smoking in the back. Well, when she got home, she parked it, and she came out the next morning. There was a big puddle of oil out in front of it. So she called the dealership where she got it from, and they sent a tow truck to come pick it up. Well, they came and got it and found out that the oil pan had cracked on it. And she had just gotten the oil changed from them a month and a half ago, less than a month and a half ago. They changed the oil, and then the oil pan cracked on it. So did they really change her oil, or did they do something else? I don't know. I've never seen it happen before. I've seen people tighten up that oil plug screw too tight. Well, they'll strip it. And if you strip that screw, you're going to have some problems. Then you got to change out that oil pan down there. Okay? I've seen people cross-thread it and strip it out, which you're going to end up having to replace the oil pan. You ever replace the oil pan, that is no joke job, because a lot of times, you know, you got that crossbar support that's up under the engine that you have to remove that to get that oil pan out of there. Okay? And in some cases, in some vehicles, they've had to lift the entire engine up to get to the oil pan. So, you know, stuff like that can happen. All right? Like I said, did they really change your oil? They said they did. They said they did. Did they expect for a woman to check it herself? A lot of times they don't. Do they expect anybody else to check it? Think about it. She went to the dealership where she bought it and had them change it. For the change her oil, they charged her $100 to change her oil. Now, for $100, I can buy 4 to 5 quarts of the oil itself from a place like Menards or any other place they got it on sale. For about $20 for 5 quarts of it, I can buy it. okay, and then get the oil filters. And I can change it myself. But like I said, that's the reason why, because I can do it myself and I don't trust who's changing it. The second I don't trust who's changing it, that's the reason why I do it myself. So, you know, I hope this can help somebody out there. I hope, you know, what I said could, you know, help somebody along the way. Like I said, they say it in I believe it, I don't know if it says it in the Bible or not, but if I could help somebody along the way, then I know that my living has not been in vain. Thank y'all for tuning in to the channel. Thank y'all for hitting the like buttons, hitting the subscribe buttons. The numbers are going up. They're going up real slow, but hey, they're going up. And I'd rather see things go up than go down, okay? Well, no. The only thing I don't want to see go up is my house note. That I'd rather see it go down. Taxes going up? No. Let them go down, okay? So, with that being said, thank y'all for tuning in to the channel today, and I'll see you next time. Just peace and love one another just a little bit more.